Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for December of 2025. You have this Dreamcatcher card. It says, pay attention to the signs, messages, and guidance that come to you at night. You have this crescent moon. It says, as the moon grows, so can your wealth, health, and happiness stay positive. I do feel it could be a very positive time for you. You show up as yourself right there, which is good. And could be love, but I kind of feel like it's you showing up in the reading, which puts you in a position of power and strength. It is also a very intuitive month. So this Dreamcatcher card says pay attention to your signs, messages, and dreams that come to you at night, or whatever it says. I think I read that wrong. But especially for you, especially with Uranus and Gemini, even though Uranus is retrograding in Taurus right now until next year, basically the springtime, it doesn't matter. Again, you are going to be downloading crazy messages for sure. So I would be, having a dream journal, writing random thoughts that jump into your head down during the day, because like I said, the trick for Gemini is that your thoughts, the things that pop into your head, they might not make sense like immediately, but they will if you write them down and think about the messages that you're receiving. So that is your work for like the next 7 years. I would be really doing that. You start here with the the Lovers, the King of Swords, and the Two of Wands. The Lovers, like I said, could be just you showing up here in a strong position. I also do feel, there could be a little bit of love, but, again, this reading seems to be about you so far. And if you want love, you could be attracting a person. I feel like this is about cutting something out because we go down to the Ace of Swords right here. Ace of Swords, of course, is a victory or a big win, but sometimes I think we have to kind of like cut one thing out so we can have something better with the Ace of Swords, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. You have the King of Swords. Yeah, everything you've learned for many years it's all coming back to you now here, Gemini, with the King of Swords. King of Swords is knowledge and wisdom. It's how we use what we know or what we have learned over a long period of time. So a lot of you, I feel like this is just you using your information, the things that you've learned, and you're putting it into something. We have the Three of Pentacles here. Three of Pentacles can just be something that we are building or creating that we are going to put out into the world, right? And it could even just be you. If you've been working on yourself, then you put yourself out into the world and you show yourself off, right? It could be anything. And I feel like the King of Swords is saying like everything you've learned is coming back now. And it's all going to start adding up to like a big picture. And I feel like that's where this reading is going. You have the Two of Wands. Yeah, definitely you taking the lead. Two of Wands can just be a card of just simply taking the lead in your life and stepping out into the world, like he has the whole world in his hands right here. I also feel great progress here. You have the Six of Swords also coming up in the reading, which can represent progressing in the world or making progress in the world. So I actually don't feel much. Normally I have a lot to say about the Two of Wands, but not in your reading. I just feel like you're taking the lead in your life, which is perfectly fine. I just noticed also that in your next row, you have this card that says, show the world the real you. So this whole entire reading is definitely about you showing the world something. We'll probably figure it out. With the Lovers, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel everybody feels like this right now. Like we all feel like something is missing or we don't have something that we need. I kind of talked about this a lot during all the readings in 2025. I truly believe it's because we had Pluto in Capricorn, and then, obviously this year Pluto officially moved into Aquarius to stay. And it did retrograde this year, but it never retrograded into Capricorn like it did last year. And so what I would say here is that the weird thing about Pluto and Capricorn, then Pluto going into Aquarius, is that it represents like the death of establishment. So something in our lives that has been established for a long time can go away, but it can be a source of support. It can be something that we think supports us, or it can be a structure as well, which actually, the Two of Wands, he's standing in the top of his castle, but he's being asked to go build a new castle. So like I said, it's like you've been asked to let go of structure or a certain structure in your life so that you can build something better, so you can expand your kingdom. But like I said, I think this can make us feel like we are being left out in the cold, or we're going to be missing out on something, or it can make us feel like we're losing something. but it's not really true. It's just our brain. With the King of Swords, you have the Ten of Swords. Yes, something is dead, done, over with, basically. Ace of Swords, again, we'll talk about it in a second. Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with. Ten of Swords is usually a blessing in disguise. He's making a symbol right here with his hand that represents a blessing. It's the same symbol the Hierophant is making on his card. So I kind of just feel like whatever you're releasing at this time, it's going to be a blessing here, Gemini. With the Two of Wands, you have the Seven of Swords. A lot of people read Seven of Swords lying, cheating, stealing, but again, Seven of Swords is a good card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what, and he is sneaking away from this army in the background with those swords, so he is avoiding war by stealing the swords so they can't be used against him in battle. And this is the next 7 years-ish of your life, is you finding better ways to do everything. Again, Uranus and Gemini, like I have always been, I'm going to keep saying this to you for the next 7 years, that this is a superpower for you, Gemini. Just studying the things that you're working on, could be anything, and finding a better way to do it, or just mixing things together with your Gemini brain, that's going to lead to the most success for sure. A lot of your ideas are going to be bad, but that's perfectly fine, right? Like even just one idea that works, even if you have 100 bad ideas, one idea will totally make it worth it. So, it's time to put your thinking cap on here. I think it's time for you to be tactical, for you to come up with plans. Even if the plan doesn't work, change the plan. Be willing to change the plan. I don't really think Gemini has a problem being flexible, but, just make sure that you are. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this step out of your comfort zone. Yes. You have this show the world the real you. Yes, Gemini. Stepping out of your comfort zone is a trick with the Two of Wands. Two Wands can represent being stuck in a comfort zone, and leaving that comfort zone is what will lead to the most success. The show the world the real you card, again, we were talking about the Three of Pentacles in your next row, which we'll talk about in a minute, but, definitely time to kind of like put your skills on display, or to use your skills in a different way. And anything that can make you stand out would be very good. You have the Knight of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, definitely no rushing, especially for like the first 2 weeks of the month. I'm recording this video on November 22nd. It'll be published on the 23rd. We're in the Mercury retrograde until the 27th, or the 29th, sorry. Neptune goes direct on the 27th, but we're in the Mercury retrograde till the end of the month, the 29th. But even at that, we'll be in the shadow for the first 2 weeks, so no rushing. I do feel pretty good about this, though. Normally, I'm not like the biggest fan of the Knight of Swords. Again, he's too hasty. He makes decisions too quickly. He can rush. But I kind of feel this is good for your ideas. It's like you're Gemini. You're very mentally active. And, you could notice that your thoughts are speeding up. I feel as long as you're capturing those thoughts, the dream catcher, right? You have to catch those dreams. And how weird is it? There's like a world right in the middle of that dream catcher. So you need to catch your dreams. You need to, kind of catch those ideas that are rushing around in your head to have the most success. You have the Ace of Swords. Again, maybe your most important card here. Every once in a while I do a reading and like one card I feel is really telling the story, if that makes sense. The Ace of Swords can be a victory or a big success coming in for you. Number one, the sword is above the mountains, which is great. It can say that you're overcoming an obstacle or you're overcoming some sort of challenge. The Ace of Swords cuts both ways. So we have this palm frond right here, this olive branch over here. Palm fronds in the tarot represent needing to make a sacrifice. The olive branch is like an offer of peace, or can represent abundance coming in for you. And so I get that feeling for you, Gemini, that, if there's something in your life, or if you're doing things that aren't working, just cutting those things out and focusing on what is working is going to like double your success. So, obviously I would want to double my success if I were you, and I would get rid of the things that just aren't working, or anything that needs to be sacrificed, or anything that isn't part of the plan with the Seven of Swords, getting rid of those distractions. I don't even think some of these things are distractions. I just think that you're cutting a lot of things out that are just dead weight, or you just don't need to be doing anymore in your life, and I feel it'll be very helpful. You have the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles can represent feeling left out in the cold. Again, the feeling I get for you, Gemini, is that something is missing, or you feel like something is missing in your life, like you need something. Could be anything. like for some of you, I feel this is something that you could easily go get. Like if it's love or support or an idea, a little bit of thinking time could bring you the idea you need. The trick with the Five of Pentacles is to not call attention to your weaknesses. We have to double down on our strengths with the Five of Pentacles, and that's how we find success with a card. So I would make sure that you are doubling down on your strengths, doubling down on what you're good at, because that will, of course, lead to the most success with the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles also says that you need to kind of like create a place of sanctuary. There is a church behind them right here, and they could easily go inside the church, but for you, camera number one isn't cooperating today, but for you, I feel that this is more like you could create a source of peace or sanctuary for you, and this could be like meditation time. It could be you hiding in your closet for 5 minutes every single day, something, right? I feel it would be very beneficial for you to do that. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Six of Swords. Very good. You have the Six of Swords twice. Six of Swords is moving on to calmer shores, heading towards improvements, which I feel would be good. You do have the Knight of Swords here. So the Knight of Swords is running to the past. The Six of Swords is moving forward, right? I would definitely keep moving forward. It's like there's nothing behind you. I would keep pushing forward there. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Devil. Pretty much I've said to every single sign, there's a weird like devil energy at the end of the year here. It could be good because you have the Ace of Swords, so you could be eliminating something that is, again, wasting your time. The Devil can be an energy vampire. It can be anything. It could be a person, a place, or a thing that steals your energy, and by seeing it and cutting it out, you can get rid of it. So I think that for you, you're actually the only person that I feel positive about this for. For everybody else, I've told everybody else to avoid temptation, avoid doing bad things, blah, blah, blah. For you, it's a little bit different. I feel like you are cutting toxic things out of your life. I don't even think it's just people. I think it's like things, stuff you do, habits, things that you're working on that aren't working. It seems to me like you're getting more focused. And again, even the Knight of Swords can be a card of more focus. Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. So again, I feel pretty good about that. With the Five of Pentacles, sure, we'll take both. You have the Temperance card and the Hermit. You have the Hermit twice in your reading now. The Temperance card is patience. The Hermit says you have been through a dark night of the soul, and now you're shining your inner light. I feel like this is saying it's time for you to shine, basically, Gemini. The Temperance card, he is almost being too patient. He's trying to be too perfect. He could easily step off on this path and go claim his crown here, but he's trying to make something perfect. He thinks he needs something. Five of Pentacles, right? Thinking, that's the intuitive message I'm getting from the Five of Pentacles for you, is that you think you need something, but maybe you don't. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But what I would say here is sometimes I think, people will say to me oh, I need to do this before I start my business, or I need to do this before I go get that thing. I'm like, well, actually, no, you don't. So if you think you need something to accomplish something that you're trying to accomplish in your life, then I would say maybe you don't. Maybe you should start taking the steps now, because you're probably ready. The Hermit really is ready. He's finished his journey. He has his inner light inside that lantern, and it's time for him to move forward. Next in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Observer card and this Mending card. The Mending card is healing. Again, the end of retrogrades are always good for, healing, resting, relaxing, recovering, all that other stuff. The Observer card is about seeing something, which with the Ace of Swords, I definitely feel your focus is being drawn to a point in your life. Something that you're trying to create, or something that you want to show off with the Three of Pentacles here. And, I would focus on whatever it is. You have the Hermit, the Five of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. The Hermit, again, says you've been on a long journey, you've been through a dark night of the soul, and now you're ready to come down from the mountain. I think in your last reading that I did for you, which was probably the reading for the week of the 17th, or what, I don't know what this week is. Today is the 22nd, so whatever this week was, it might have been that weekly reading. I can't really remember, but one of the readings I did for you had the Hermit, and I was saying something about how you need to come down from the mountain. Again, we have the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo right now, which I feel is a very hermit-like energy, because South Node Virgo is, people who have South Node Virgo in their past life, they probably escaped to the top of a mountain to punish the world, and they need to learn to come down to the world, into the world, and to share their inner light. But they, in their past life, they punished the world because something hurt them. And so I think as a collective, we all need to kind of show off what makes us special at this time, because that's what we're working on. And that's what I would do with the Hermit. Also, Gemini, make sure to like and leave a comment. Really helps me out. You have the Six of Swords again. So Six of Swords is moving on to calmer shores. I kind of feel like you're working on your final project here. Sometimes I say Six of Swords sometimes gives me a little bit of a back to the drawing board type of energy. And during a Mercury retrograde, that makes perfect sense. Sometimes during retrogrades, we can revisit things that we've been working on, and we can redo them, or we can reinvent them, or rework them. And I get that feeling for you, Gemini. Even though the retrograde is over, by the time we get to December, we'll still be in the shadow. And also, maybe all of November, you were thinking about redoing something. So, if you've been thinking about redoing a project or anything in your life that you want to try again, I do kind of feel this Six of Swords is encouraging you to try again. I think it would be very good for you. I also feel your results are going to be different. This woman and the child, they have nothing on them but the clothing on their back. So they are completely starting over for the hopes of a brighter future. And I do feel this is saying there is a brighter future if you try to do something again. You have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, you are definitely going to be one of the signs that gets this card a lot over the next several years. I think air signs in general are being encouraged to stand out because of Pluto and Aquarius. But with Uranus and Gemini, for sure, you are being encouraged to stand out for your unique ideas, for the things that you accomplish. And I think working on those, on your unique ideas is a good idea. We have this fire triangle right here, but we also have this water triangle right here. The water triangle on the Three of Pentacles says that this guy here, he added something just a little bit special, just a little bit extra to the project that he did here, right? So he made it just a little bit unique to him. That is the secret for Gemini, just making something just a little bit unique to you. Anything you're working on, any projects, any business projects, any ideas, right? Adding your own unique flair is going to make you stand out, Gemini. And I'm going to keep telling this to you for the next 7-ish years because I need to hear it too, right? I'm a Gemini moon, and I also need to hear this message. So there you go. With the Hermit, you have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel this way right now. It's almost like it's like when you're a kid and you play dodgeball or whatever. I don't know if any of you had this where there was a safety zone, where if you were in the safety zone, you were safe from getting hit by a dodgeball, right? That's how I feel about the Four of Pentacles. Is I think we're all in the safe zone and we're not leaving it, but we have to. We have to take the risk of leaving the where we're safe. We have to take bigger risks and do more things, right? And so don't be afraid of stepping out of the safety zone. With the Six of Swords, you have the Star. Love it. Very good. I definitely love the Ace of Swords and the Star. The Star is like having a North Star, and it's having that guiding light, focusing on something that you are going to go accomplish. The Hermit has the Star in his lantern. So having the Star here, it kind of says that you are going to be shining your light. You are going to be putting your light out into the world. And again, with the Ace of Swords, it says you're going to be focusing on one big goal or something you're trying to accomplish. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Swords again. You have all these repeating cards. So I love repeating cards in readings, especially if you have a bunch, because it's basically the universe has nothing else to add. It's kind of like confirmation for your path. It's just the universe saying, I meant what I said. So the Knight of Swords says no rushing, but at the same time, I feel that, it is saying that you are having these very quick thoughts that you need to capture and pay attention to. In your outcome row for the good stuff, you have this Judication card. It says advisor, consultant, negotiation, discussion, final decision, discernment, You have this high honor card. It says promotion, a raise, success, award, recognition, fame, achievement, all things we were talking about. High society, positive public opinion. Yes. all of that is what you should be focusing on there, Gemini, is, standing out, getting attention. Star can be fame. The Three of Pentacles can be recognition. It can be a raise or a promotion as well. Three of Pentacles is standing out for a job well done. So obviously, if you do a good job, if you add a little bit extra into the work you're doing in work, you could get a raise. You could get a promotion, right? So all of those things are going to be important. I would say not even just this month. For the next 7-ish years, I would be doing things to make this happen as much as possible. You have the Four of Swords, Death card, and the Page of Swords. I literally said to Pisces, which was the first reading I did, that everybody was going to get the Death card. I basically haven't been wrong, so we'll talk about it. But the Four of Swords always comes up during Mercury retrograde. And like I said, even though the retrograde's over, we're still going to be in the shadow. And Four of Swords is great for resting, relaxing, recovering, healing. Any of that you need to do during the first half of the month of December, I would definitely take your time and heal. It's also a great card for hoping and praying for a blessing. He's hoping and praying. There's a person right here blessing another person. I kind of get make a wish or ask for something that you want. So if you want something, I would ask. You have the Death card. Like I said, I think we're in a great time of change, and we're all just going through changes. I have a feeling that pretty much everyone will probably have this card in the 2026 readings as well. Really, this year, 2025, is a great year of change. It's the year of the snake in the Chinese zodiac. So, we are shedding our skin. Next year, we will probably be adding structure to those changes, we'll be cementing those changes into reality. And so, it's this year we've just been going through the change and thinking about the changes we want to make. Next year is when the rubber meets the road. And, I think a lot of you could just be doing things to make changes permanent. You have the Page of Swords. Yeah, excellent time for you to be curious. Again, your brain is going to be your superpower over the next many years. And so I would be trusting your ideas. I would be getting curious about your random ideas as well. Again, it's kind of hard to describe. And it's I see it like this. Things come in, hit you in the side of the head, and then they go out. So it's you need to write down your ideas because they will escape you. But if you capture your ideas, if you get curious about them, and they could be very random ideas, and if you do your research, and if you're curious, like the Page of Swords, he just follows his curiosity, then who knows what you will discover. Probably amazing things. But, that is the work that you have to do. You have to explore the ideas. If you get an idea that's very random, that you've never thought of before, research it. There are a billion videos about everything that possibly exists on YouTube, right? For free. And so other than you might have to take a little bit of time to do your research, but looking into things is going to be the key to your success. Mark my words, Gemini. With the Four of Swords, you have the King of Swords twice in your reading. So the King of Swords, again, is knowledge and wisdom. I kind of just feel like the King of Swords is you. I feel you've learned a lot. And like I said, I think all this knowledge is coming back to you. All the things you've learned. You're seeing how you can apply what you've learned to your life. And that is very powerful. With the Death card, you have the Ace of Cups here. You have two aces, which is pretty good. Two aces is a yes to any question that I haven't answered. The Ace of Cups could be a love offer, but the Ace of Cups is really about getting into the flow. There's been a lot of flow messages this month as well. So I think the more we get into the flow, the better. This cup can reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So with the Ace of Cups, we have to do more of what causes us to overflow. With the Page of Swords, you have the Page of Swords. A lot of repeating cards. So definitely, basically, the universe saying I meant what I said. Again, repeating cards are good because it basically just says you're on the right path. You're going in the right direction. So there's really nothing to add there. You have this Dark Man. It says dealings or relationships with a man with dark complexion or hair. You have this Cup. It says you should accept valid criticism. Sure. There definitely could be some criticisms coming in for you. I feel like people could be very picky around you. Not only this month, but maybe over the next year or two. Gemini, you might notice that people are very, you have like a more critical eye, especially with the Three of Pentacles. Again, Three of Pentacles is good, but if you're, working on a project, or if you're doing something for your boss, you might notice that they're very kind of like a little bit picky, and I would just work with it, is what this is saying. You have this hills card. It says obstacles to overcome. They're hills, they're not mountains. So again, one of the problems I think of the astrology that's coming up, mostly like Saturn in Aries and also Neptune in Aries, is that we can make a bigger deal out of little things than we need to. I feel what we are all way too used to is Pluto and Capricorn. The problem with Pluto and Capricorn, even though Pluto isn't in Capricorn anymore, but we had 20 years of Pluto and Capricorn basically, is that if you make a mistake, it probably did end things. Like if you made a mistake on a project, it didn't work, right? And so I think we are all too used to little things getting in the way of what we're trying to accomplish. I think we need to realize that the bad man is gone. Pluto and Capricorn is over. We have Pluto and Aquarius now. So it's like we're not going to be punished. I think maybe some of you have felt punished for working on things. It's like you try to make progress. It doesn't work. You feel like you were punished. And, that's not going to happen anymore. So don't allow little things to get in the way of your success. You have this mountain road. It says you're on the road to success. There you go. Wouldn't even worry about it there, Gemini. You have this December card, and this, it says family wishes come true. So obviously this is for the month of December. There could be some sort of wish coming true. You have this broom. It says new home, new attitude. Yes, Gemini. Number one, Uranus and Gemini. Even though Uranus is in your, it's going to be your first house, even if you're not a first house Gemini, it doesn't matter. It's going to affect all Geminis the same. Uranus and Gemini can affect like where we live. So you don't have to move. That's not what I'm saying. But if you do move, I wouldn't be surprised, right? The other thing is that there's been a lot of stuff for you about your environment. So you don't even have to move, but creating a better environment for yourself, or creating a more positive environment, like a clean environment or something like that, could really change the energy for you. But this looks amazing, Gemini. So make sure to leave a comment. Thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.